Hello, my name is Amanda Lind. I work for Blue Marble Geographics. Today I'm going to show you how to export 3D print data from Global Mapper. Global Mapper is a GIS software that's well known for its ability to handle large terrain in 3D data files. And in version 25.1, we've added a new ability to export STL files that are specifically tailored for 3D printing. This file format supports file types such as mesh data. This is just a little building here that was created from photogrammetry. But it can also support terrain data, such as this little bathymetric layer here of the bottom of the ocean, or this model of Mount Katahdin up here in Maine. And this terrain printing is what I'm going to show you how to do today in Global Mapper. So if you have your own data, Global Mapper can support just about any file type. You can load it in and get started. But if you don't have data, I'm going to show you how to do that first. So Global Mapper has the ability to access free sources of streamable data all across the web. And you can access that by going to this little globe icon here. It's called the Online Data Tool. And here, you basically have two options. You're going to look at where you want to pull the data from, so your data source, and your location, where on Earth do you want to pull the data of. So for 3D printing, I usually recommend the USGS 3DEP elevation, or DEP, because it's pretty high resolution, though if you're outside of the United States, you might want to look at other sources. Now, for location, for where to download, we have these options here under Select Area to Download. If you have data of that location already loaded, you'll have the option to download within current screen bounds, so it'll only download the data that fits within your workspace. But as I have no data loaded here, I need to be a little bit more specific. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this option to download within 3 miles of Glass Mountains. And if you're unsure what your location is called, go ahead and go to Google and try Googling a few different things to see what brings you to the correct location. And this works off of the same directory. So I have my location, I have my data source, I'm going to go ahead and click connect, and it's going to stream that data from USGS directly into Global Mapper. Now, I don't want to print this entire data set, I just want to print a little sliver, so I'm going to take a second and crop it down. I'm going to do that by creating an area feature and then cropping the layer to the area feature. So to create an area feature, I have this little toolbar of options here. I want to create a square one, so I'm going to click on the Create Rectangle icon. And then I'm just going to outline the area that I would like to crop to, just this section here. In this menu that appears, you only need to change one setting, and you need to give it a layer name. So you can choose Created Feature Layers, or you can name it. I'm just going to leave it at that and click OK. So now we have our layer here. Next, to crop the terrain layer to this area feature that I've created, I need to select it. So I'm going to grab this digitizer tool, this little pencil icon up here, and just select the layer, and it is selected. Next, I'm going to change the elevation layer's settings to crop it. So I'm going to right-click on the settings and go to Options. Then I'm going to click on the Cropping tab, and I'm going to go down near the bottom to crop to currently selected polygons. Click OK, and now our data is much smaller. So zoom in a little bit so we can see that a little better. Now, technically from here, I could export it without a problem, but I'm going to take a second and visualize it and look at it a little more closely. One good way to do that in Global Mapper is to use the 3D viewer. And this just populates the data in a 3D space, as you can imagine. Now, looking at it, we can see that this appears to be pretty flat. So we can extrude it to make it a little taller, extrude the Z values of the elevation, just so it's a little bit more exaggerated. And that's most easily done using these two icons here, these little emphasize height mountains with the arrows. So I'm going to click this up, and you can see as I'm increasing the height, you can see the vertical exaggeration number listed here. And that's important because as we export, I'm going to bump that up to 3. As we export, there's a Z exaggeration option in the exporter where you can choose to add this value in here. So you can use the 3D viewer to model exactly how much you would like to vertically extrude your data. Very handy. Another option for visualization is the shader. By default, this is the Atlas shader where the higher values are kind of more red and the lower values are blues and greens. But since we're doing 3D printing, it's probably going to be in one color depending on your 3D printer. And so we can change the shader to model that. So from this drop-down shader list up here in the main Global Mapper toolbar, I'm going to choose the Daylight shader. This is the one shader that changes everything to be one color. By default, it's white, but you can also change this to a different color in the configuration settings under shader options under this Daylight shader surface color. Now again, the color isn't exported with the STL, but it is good for visualization. Now, there's another thing that you could do if you were really motivated to, is you could change the values if you wanted to edit some of it out. For example, the terrain painting option here, if you wanted to smooth out some areas or bring one area up or down or fill up a hole, the terrain painting tool would allow you to do that. But now that we have our data loaded, let's go ahead and export it. So to export to an STL, I'm going to go to File, Export, Export 3D Format, and this brings up all the options, all the 3D formats the Global Mapper supports, which is it's a little bit of a handful, but the one that we want to use is this STL 3D printing, because this is the one that's tailored exactly for 3D printing. You'll want to choose where you'll save it, and name it Gloss Mountain 2, and then we have our options here. Typically, when you're exporting data through any sort of GIS, it maintains its spatial bounds, and unless you're printing with the world's largest 3D printer, we're going to want to scale it down a little bit to fit within your print bed, and that's what these first two options are for, the X and Y axis. I'm going to change my units to inches, and I'm going to set the x-axis to 10. So this longest section here is going to be 10 inches long, and because I have this preserve horizontal aspect ratio selected, it's automatically changed my y-axis to be 4.5 inches long. So you can change these so it fits within your print bed. Now Z-scaler, that's what we were looking at in the 3D printer. I have the vertical exaggeration there set to 3, and I like how that looks, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that there. Now the next option is to add base and walls. So you can choose not to add the base and walls, and it'll be not flat on the bottom, and that won't necessarily print well. Here's an example of what base and walls looks like. You can see the walls are extruded down, and there's a flat base on the bottom. You can choose to create just walls with no base, so it's hollow on the underside. It doesn't necessarily print well, but you can't create a base without walls because it cannot float. You'd have to do that post-printing with some magnets if you wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and check the option to create a base and walls. Now the next option is base thickness. This is how many millimeters below the lowest elevation on your data set do you want that base to be created from. By default, I usually recommend 2 or lower, and that's to prevent any holes from being created in your data set. So here's an example where on the corner here, you can see that it's the lowest elevation and the base wasn't extruded low enough. So it kind of petered out to a really thin layer and turned into a hole, similar to this lowest point on this bathymetric layer here. There's a little hole in it. So adding it 2 millimeters below the lowest point will help fix those holes. And it also creates a little bit of a thicker base on the rest of it, but it's flat. It's worth it. Now, sample spacing is something that geographers will be familiar with. It's the resolution of the data, or how much detail you want to add in it. So by default, this is populated with whatever resolution the data already has, which is 0.25 meters by 0.25 meters. However, this higher resolution is going to create a very large data file, which may be more than what my computer can handle, and is probably going to be more detailed than my 3D printer can create anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this resolution down to 5 meters by 5 meters. So it's still pretty high resolution. You'll still get a pretty decent export out of it, but it won't crash your computer, and it'll be a decently sized file. So once everything's set, you click OK, and it's going to download the data and export it into the proper file type, which you can then load into your slicer. But I'm going to go ahead and load this in a 3D viewer here, just so we can see what it looks like. So we can see, I'm going to go down to this lowest corner here. We can see that the walls are there, there's a base, there are no holes. You can zoom in and see if you like your sample spacing, or if you want to make that a little smaller or a little larger, and use this to preview your data a little bit before exporting it. And that's how you create your data. For more information, you can go to our website at bluemarblegeo.com, or if you have any questions, you can contact our technical support team at geohelp@bluemarblegeo.com. Thanks for watching.